Hey, what's up? I'm Eric Leo 108, a philosopher, sociologist, and hip hop artist with schizoaffective disorder, and this is a point by point response to Bill Maher's one of his shows, specifically January 27th, 2023, episode 2 of season 21. We're 27 minutes in, and basically, I'm going to be arguing that because education is tied to your vocation because we've outpriced average Americans, we are now talking about disenfranchising the whole institution instead of making it affordable and improving it.
He claims that hundreds of billions of American tax dollars are sent to universities that teach that America is an evil, racist nation.
That's Bill.
That stuff plays in Ohio. And it's also partly true. We do teach that a little too hard. You know, it's one thing to teach, like you say, the real history, and we should. But even when I went to school, we did teach that there was slavery and that it was wrong. I don't think they completely, now maybe, I don't know what's going on in Texas. They can be pretty crazy down there. But generally, teachers are going to teach that. But we have gone too far in the other direction. I mean, you're starting a university, right? Isn't this what?
Okay, so just to give perspective here, I don't think they teach America is evil. That would be a Christian perspective, which they always argue it's secular. It's more like wrong, and it's still entrenched from the past, which most people don't understand how the past affects today. So it looks like they're going too far when they're really just ignorance, when it's really just ignorance by the general population. Some examples are that most people don't know that what redlining is, which still affects many black people today, or how Confederate statues that should be torn down because they were mostly put up during segregation as a symbol to remind blacks of slavery.
Bored of one because, I mean, there are something like 4,000 universities in the country. You wouldn't think that we need another one, and yet somehow all of these schools with all of these unbelievable endowments that have fancy slogans like Veritas and claims to truth in their motto and in their mission statement, and above the doorposts of the schools, they don't actually believe in those missions anymore. I
think they really do. I think, I don't know her name, Bari sounds really ignorant here. We're opening and spending more money on prisons in America than college. We have outpriced the average American so much that they're so ignorant they would rather disenfranchise the institution than fix it. So my question would be, would you rather the claims to truth be corporations and think tanks?
Often these days, college degrees aren't worth the paper they're printed on.
They are bullshit. And here's, well, that's.
I have to say, when someone applies for a job with me and they haven't graduated.
Okay, so college degrees are seen as worthless because of the cost. Colleges used to never be connected to your vocation. It only became that way to justify the cost because college became so expensive. Society used to see the value in having citizens that had a diverse knowledge range and education. So a little history. Abraham Lincoln started some of the first free colleges. But then after abolition, I don't know. I shouldn't tell this story because I didn't have it written down in the notes, but this is just coming off the top of my head. Black people were trying to get into college, so they made it. They charged for it, so because black people couldn't afford it. Then they figured out in like the 1970s that they could get grants for it, and then colleges figured out they could charge whatever they want. So college always used to be affordable, and then before that it was free in this country. So we have a history of free education in this country. It's just it's because of racism and other issues, like Bill would say, is going too far on the other side, is why it costs. The alternative is now you have to buy some course from some dude who just makes it look like he knows what he's talking about when he doesn't. You've seen these guys on all over YouTube how money is nothing and you should just take their course and they'll teach you how to do whatever. So you can audit free college courses or apply for aid to take the course at edx.org or coursera.org. It's much more affordable. I've seen some of them. Hank Green just came out with a new YouTube, or I can't remember. I should have remembered what the website was. But you can take courses from Hank Green and then have it apply to college courses. edx.org and Coursera, I think, do stuff like that on gen eds. The hard part is getting into like expert knowledge without a college. Yeah.
Went to college or gone to college, I am more interested in that person.
And this is why this elitist argument works so well in places like Ohio. There's nothing more elitist than college. And
okay, so by the very nature of college, you got to get good grades. You have to perform, which is more like of a meritocracy, which is elitist in that way, is by inherently elitist. That the elite rise. So what we have to do is make things more fair in the system. And this is what I'm saying. We're not talking about fixing and improving college to make it more fair. We're saying do away with it. So the reason college is elitist is because it costs so much. Now you can't go to college unless you have like parents that are wealthy, or you have a good job or something. You can't afford it unless you want a death sentence. Private institutions are elitist. So even more so, I would make the argument that private institutions like private colleges are elitist. U of M has the Go Blue guarantee. So U of M is one of the best academic institutions in America. And if you get good grades, they have a Go Blue guarantee that if you get in, that I think like 4 years of college is covered. So in that way, it's not elitist that you can afford it. And that's why I'm really economic viability is really what keeps people. It's what's really the gatekeeper here. Studies show tests are racist, which is why they are doing away with them. I didn't have to go and fill. The reason why I applied to college basically is because I didn't have to do the GRE. Yeah. And I was able to apply easily. Otherwise, it would have been a really big hurdle for me to do it. I would have done it. But yeah, it probably would have taken me a couple more years. But they show the tests are racist, so they don't do them. Things like this, they are correcting for it. It's elitist in that you have to get good grade. I already talked about that. So like me personally, I got into Western Michigan University for their sociology master's program. I'm waiting to hear back from U of M for their PhD in both in sociology. But I need to know how to do professional research. Where else am I going to learn that? Some company would have to hire me, or I would have to. And again, do you want to learn from a corporation or like a think tank, or do you want it to be from academic institutions? You're basically saying the sciences are irrelevant and should be minimized by saying you don't want academic institutions. I know how to write. I need to know how to write and publish scientific papers and get them peer reviewed. So yeah.
People know that. It has been in this position of this show for a very long time.
College is very necessary.
The Democratic Party is kind of on the wrong side of this issue because their opinion is always, their program is always, get everybody into college. Everybody should go to college.
I don't think everybody should go to college unless it's affordable, and we need to make it affordable. Unless we lower the barriers to entry would be what Bill is arguing here.
The more people sitting in classrooms looking at blackboards, the better off we'll be.
They use dry erase boards now, Bill. You're such a kidder.
And I've always said, no, college is bullshit, A. And B, we should make college less necessary.
No, we should make college more affordable. We should make college more accessible. We should make college more integral, easier, fluid, transparent, seamless. for the price you pay for a college, it should be more interactive. So basically, because you pay so much at college, it should be more accurate, interactive. People learn different. Like if chemistry is this, like if chemistry and scientists, you have labs, you go to labs, you mix chemicals, you get to see chemistry in action. But it should be more experiential. Like you experience, if you're paying that much for an education, you should experience, you should be immersed in it. Which I think Michigan institutions do a good job at that.
Don't get everybody in college. Finally, someone's listening to me. Josh Shapiro, he's the governor of Pennsylvania, Democratic governor. This week, signed his first executive order. 92% of state government jobs won't require a four-year college degree, opening up 65,000 jobs because you don't need a college degree for almost all the jobs they claim you do anyway.
Right.
Okay. But I don't think I should be told I'm wrong or inferior or less desirable because I can sit down, read, think, and come up with solutions when others can't. And you say that's unnecessary is just not accurate. As the world and technology becomes more complicated, people need more education to understand how it works. So how do you propose we learn that? Is it like... I'm not going to give you suggestions. We just need to change and make more available current education. Most people don't even know how the government works. This is an example as what I deal with as a sociologist, and that we're an oligarchy, or what socialism really is. Fox News puts out this rhetoric so much they can't even see that socialism is in their aggregate benefit. If they would understand what it actually means, which means workers' rights over production. And Bill's solution for them is to do their own research. Basically, what you're telling America is to do their own research, and we already know how well that works out.
It's a scam. It's a racket.
That's it.
Education is a racket.
But it's also
It's become a racket.
great politics.
And great
It's
politics.
great.
It's
What
become-
Josh Shapiro just did is
when it's
fabulous.
for
It's good
profit.
for the economy. It's good for Pennsylvanians, my home state, as we were talking about before. And frankly, it's a thumb in the eye of the higher ed cartel in this country, which is a
Right.
move that is fabulous for a party that is now totally associated with the urban elite. It's just,
Right.
it's great all around. And we shouldn't stop with just state jobs. Like, I think about journalism, right? Used to be a blue collar profession.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no reason you need to go to Yale and get a gender studies degree to go out in the street and ask people questions.
Okay, so instead of making college free or better, Bill's solution is to minimize its influence. So to her, I'd say, yeah, but that didn't mean that you don't want a class about gender studies to see what science has to say about gender, which would improve your perspective and reporting.
I'll tell you, Bill, wanna campaign for 18 months in Ohio.
And that doesn't mean that class shouldn't be affordable. Like, the reason you don't take it is because it's not affordable.
The biggest applause lines I would get, or nods, depending on the audience, was when I said we need to bring back shop class
I agree.
to our high schools. And if you want to start having to, there's no reason we can't have a K through 12 education system where you're not
This high school I went to, Sturgis High School, had a great shop class. Mr. Major was our teacher, and I had friends that loved Mr. Major.
Already coming out of it. We should be able to redesign that system in 2023. And when I said that, it resonated. It could have been rural areas, urban areas, it didn't matter. People recognize that the system is broken, and that to go all in on, we're going to forgive all of the student loan debt too, and you're going to take that money from a union worker who's driving 2 hours and working, their rear end off to make ends meet. You're going to take their tax dollars and you're going to give it to somebody.
Okay, don't lie and tell people student debt relief is coming from struggling Americans. If you don't like it, take it from the military. If we can afford 800 bases, we can afford free college. It's all about priorities. And if you don't want to forgive student debt, you should have spoke up when it was Trump that bailed out the airlines or farmers. It's the same thing. The fact is, we give all the money in the world to bail out big business and create a protectionist economy, but when it goes to poor people that need it, we can't afford it, and it's socialism.
You has a gender studies degree from wherever,
Which it's not, because socialism is workers' rights over production.
that pisses people off, and I think that's part of the chasm that we have in the country right now.
So listen to this: 44% of all job seekers with college degrees regret their field, and the top regretted fields. I love this: journalism, sociology, liberal.
I don't regret my degree. I use it all the time. Again, they regret their degree because we have tied in education to economic prosperity when it used to be aspirational and more personal. I can't think of anything greater for the elites than to outprice higher thinking about the government, so the average citizen can't afford or have like a scientific perspective or a rational perspective on how the system actually works. So they just make up stuff and listen to Fox News and think they got it figured out.
Arts, general studies. Why don't you say partying? I mean, really, general studies, communications, education. In other words, all the bullshit. And you know what's going to fix this? AI. Have you been on Chat GPT? Because it can do everything all these bullshit majors can do.
Yeah.
So I would like AI to come up with the idea, let alone write a scholarly paper that the ecology needs economic representation. It learns from people. Basically, if people don't have these ideas, it doesn't come up with it. It doesn't come up with original ideas, which a college trains you how to think and why to think that.
And for the people at the Amazon warehouse who had their job replaced by a robot on the floor, they're going to have the last laugh because now AI
it's coming for me.
It's coming for white collar jobs. Exactly. All this bullshit can do. There's a.
I put it in and asked it to do a Bill Maher monologue on AI, and it spit out in 10 seconds like 5 paragraphs that sounded quite like you. It was
Quite like me is not me, my friend.
Okay.
So let's not get too ahead on.
I'm not saying.
Okay, notice how Bill seemingly is all for replacing college grads and white collar jobs, but when it's him, I don't know, let's slow down. I thought that was interesting. That's it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of my family. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it made you think. Yeah, please go follow me on AudioMac or Spotify. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of my family. You're awesome. I love you very much. And until next time, you take care, all right? Bye.